going to take a nice soft fluffy brush and just add a tiny bit more blush to the high part of my cheeks, and that does give such a gorgeous glow. Hey you guys, I'm Stacy and this is Gorgeously Aging. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I want to test some viral makeup, namely the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette. This is such a gorgeous palette, you guys. I'm a big fan of Patrick Ta. I have all the palettes so far. But what I love about this one is it's all mattes. I think mattes are so great for mature skin. I'm a big fan of a really good matte formula that's long wearing, so we're going to see how this performs. We're also going to test out the viral Haus Labs foundation, the Triclone foundation, and the concealer. I have a few other random things I want to share with you guys today that I absolutely love. A few of them were named in the Allure Best of Beauty, so I'll share those with you as well as I'm doing my makeup here today. So I've already done my full morning skincare and prepped my skin with sunscreen. You'll notice my brows are a little dark. They're still healing from microblading, but I am at a point where I can use makeup, so I'm going to go ahead and do that today. If you're interested in how I did my microblading myself at home, I do have a video on that. I will list it in the description box below. I'll also update you guys with the before and after once it's completely healed in a couple more days. You guys, I just had to stop filming to get some of my Lumpify drops. I absolutely love these. If you haven't tried them and you have a tendency for your whites of your eyes to look a little dull or red, these are fantastic. All right, I have a damp PawPaw blender. These are really affordable, you guys. I've talked about them so many times before. You can get them in a pack of, I think, 10 on Amazon. I'll list them below, but they are so soft and wonderful. Better than any high-end blender. So everything that I have here today, you guys, I did purchase myself. Nothing was sent to me, so I'll obviously give you an absolutely honest review. I did go to Sephora to get the Haus Labs foundation, and I had a hard time picking out a color match. I always think the lighting in Sephora is terrible, but Haus Labs does have an incredible shade range. I just wish the lighting in Sephora was better. This is in the shade 280 Light Medium Neutral, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple pumps on the back of my hand. You can see it's a nice fluid formula. I do think this is a tiny bit dark for me, but I will make this work when I add concealer. It's just a touch darker than I would usually use. I like to start in the center of my face and work out. And I find for mature skin that a lighter covering of foundation is better. So I'll start with one pump and then add more if needed. The amount of foundation you'll need will change depending on your tool. If you're using a sponge, the sponge does absorb some of the product. If you're using a brush, definitely start with only one pump. This really is a beautiful foundation. I feel like it's pore minimizing, gives a hydrated, natural look without being overly glowy. I'm going to move on to the Haus Labs concealer. I got this in a little bit lighter shade. This is 13 Light Neutral. And concealer, if you have a lighter concealer than your foundation color to brighten up your under eyes, it can also be used to kind of balance out a foundation that's a little bit too dark. And again, I'm going to use that same sponge and just press this in. This concealer went on really nice. It feels hydrating when you put it on. It doesn't have that chalky feel, which I think is a big red flag for mature under eyes. And I do like to get some on my eyelid to brighten up that dark inner corner and give a little bit of a base for my eyeshadow. This definitely blends in really well and looks pretty smooth under the eyes. I am going to set it. You don't necessarily have to, but I like a little bit of a set under the eyes and in the T-zone to knock down the shine, but not very much powder, otherwise it can look a little bit cakey, especially on mature skin. So I'm going to use Laura Mercier. This is like a foolproof, fantastic, translucent loose setting powder. It's one I've used for years and years. I also like the Secret Brightening Powder for under the eyes. And that's also by Laura Mercier. This one's almost gone. I've used so many of these, you guys, because it's just so good. I'm going to use a soft, fluffy brush that's a little bit on the smaller side. And just give the eyes a little set. My eyebrows from the microblading are at that flaking stage. I don't know if that is picking up on camera, but I am ready to be done with the flaking. So I'm just going to hit the T-zone. As you age, you definitely don't need as much powder. I'm going to go in with the Tower 28 bronzer, and this is in the color Getty. I'm going to use a little bit more of a dense brush. And then I'm just going to pounce it on the back of the hand, make sure it's not too much. Every bronzer is a little different. Sometimes they are so pigmented that they kind of shock you when they go on the skin, so I'm always a little careful. I will say that Tower 28 does a really good job with their bronzers. They do blend in really well. They're not overly pigmented, and I like this shade. It's not too orangey and it's not too cool. Gives a little bit of sculpting and dimension to the face without being overpowering. And I like to go around the perimeter of my face with a little bit of that contouring and bronzer. Stippling works really well if you don't want to mess up the foundation underneath. Sometimes with a soft enough brush you can swipe the cream product, but if you're concerned, just stipple it in. And then I'm going to use the Rare Beauty Cream Blush. This is such a beautiful color. It's called Nearly Neutral. And this is an IT Cosmetics airbrush brush. This is the 102, I believe. Yes, this is the 102 brush, and I'm just going to go in, pick some of that up. I'm going to keep this nice and high, because if you apply your brush on the apples of the cheeks on an aging face, sometimes in a relaxed state it falls down too low. So keeping the blush up a little bit higher tends to give a lifted effect. Of course, makeup is so personal. I think everybody should do what makes them feel their most beautiful. You don't have to listen to trends. You do what makes you feel pretty. What I do love about Rare Beauty is that so many of the products have incredible packaging, really good formulation, and they have a really excellent price point. So definitely not overpriced. So one product that I think doesn't get enough love is the Too Faced bronzer. This is the Chocolate Soleil. It's a matte bronzer and it is really beautiful. So I'm going to take a fluffier brush and just a little bit of that to reinforce the cream bronzer that I put down. This is an optional step, but I find my makeup looks and lasts better if I set my cream bronzer with a little bit of powder bronzer. A soft brush like this helps to diffuse, and you don't have to use a heavy or aggressive touch. You just go ahead and just swipe it on with a light touch, and the softness and diffusion of the brush helps to blend it in pretty effortlessly. I'm also going to use this Laura Mercier brush. This has a really nice shape for doing a nose contour. So I'm going to dip into that Too Faced bronzer, and I'm just going to go down the sides of the nose and just do a slight nose contour. This is totally optional, but once you start doing it, you notice the difference if you don't. We're leaving the center of the nose brighter and just that little ever so slightest bit of shadow down the sides of the nose. This is also a great color for just doing a little bit of eyeshadow. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to have a lot of makeup products, this one is great for both bronzing, sculpting the face, and doing a bit of eyeshadow. Now I'm going to take my sponge and just lightly press everything in. So far, I'm really impressed with the Haus Labs foundation. I feel like it looks beautiful on mature skin. I'm very skeptical of any viral product because I know how marketing works. Until I actually try it on my almost 52-year-old skin, I'm always hesitant to say this is a great product. I think we sometimes fall into a trap that we believe that anything that goes viral has to be an incredible product, but there's just so much marketing that goes behind it. All right, you guys, so here is the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love this palette. I'm going to stick with these warm colors, but these neutrals are all so pretty as well. I just feel like fall lends itself to the warmer tones. and I also feel like warmer tones makes a blue eye pop. So I'm going to go in with this kind of skin or flesh toned color here on a big fluffy brush and just lay down a base or a little transition shade here. Then we're going to move to a slightly less large brush and then work our way up these colors. So I'm going to go into this beautiful shade here and just go right above the crease and just start creating some dimension there. Little back and forth strokes. I like to kind of just flick upwards towards the tail of my brow. Then I'm going to move to this beautiful like burnt copper or burnt orange color. And focus that on the corner, just building up some depth in that outer V area. Let me show you guys some swatches of this palette while I'm blending this in. I'm going to bring that over into the lid a little bit, leaving some area here to lighten up the inner part of the lid. I'm going to go back to that really big fluffy brush here. Just blend, soften the edge there. Then I'm going to go in with a smaller brush like this and go into these last three colors here to give a little depth to the lower lash line. So I have to say the Patrick Ta formula reminds me a lot of Anastasia Beverly Hills. Really buttery, really easy to blend, just a really high quality formula. Now as I move up to the darker intensities, I'm not going to go as far over. And I'm going to bring that darker color just up here into this upper lash line, creating a soft wing. And then I'm just going to take my soft fluffy brush and blend that in a little bit. And then I'm going to take a flat brush and go into this lighter cream color here and put that on the inner half of the movable eyelid. I'm also going to take that same bone color or cream color on the edge of that flat brush and just go under the arch of the brow. And I'm going to take a pencil brush like this on that white and just go into the inner corner here and just brighten this up. You could also use this out underneath the arch of the brow if you really like that lifted or brightened. Either of those light shades would be nice there. These creams come in really handy if you want to do a nice smoky eye. You can use that as a base or even use it as a liner. So I'm going to use the NYX Thicket over my brows. They are pretty much healed. They're still flaking from the microblading. So it's been several days. I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of this to the actual brow hairs just to give them a little oomph and to mask some of that flaking. I've been without makeup now for several days, I think 4 or 5 days. So it feels nice to do my eyes up again. So even with microblading, I think it's great to use a pigmented brow gel just to give those actual brow hairs a little bit of oomph. And then the microblading becomes the background and the actual brow hairs have more of a three-dimensional look. I feel like it just brings everything together. I'm going to put on a little bit of mascara. I love the Sky High. I also have this in the waterproof formula in the pink tube. It is bar none the best drugstore mascara ever. I love the wand of this. I have tiny lashes, regardless if you have tiny lashes or longer lashes. My daughters love this too, and they have beautiful lashes, but it lifts and separates and just gives the prettiest lash. So I'm going to add a little bit of mascara, but I am going to put on lashes. So I'm not going to put on a ton of mascara. I don't want them to get clumpy or overdone. I like to keep them separated if possible. And I'm going to pop on some lashes and I will be right back. All right, lashes are on. You guys have been loving for a strip lash using the Ardell 420 lashes. I actually bought them in a 3-pack. These are really natural looking lashes. Although I think glamorous huge lashes are beautiful on some people, it's not my comfort zone. So when I wear a strip lash, I want it to be as natural looking as possible, but still give me a little oomph and feel confident. So huge news, you guys. Forever, my favorite liquid pen liner has been the Stila Stay All Day liner. Nothing has dethroned that until recently. My new absolute favorite is the Lancome. This is the Idol Ultra Precise Waterproof Liner. This is a fantastic liner if you want something that has a beautiful applicator, nice, flexible, gives just a precise line, and stays on all day and is waterproof, does not budge. This is it. So I like to use this, of course, for the traditional upper liner if I'm in the mood for something a bit more dramatic, but I also like to use it on the inner corner. It's just so precise. And that kind of blends that transition from where the lashes stop. It can be used in the same way for natural lashes. And then I also like to use it to go under and tight line. And if you have lash extensions done by a professional and you're in between lash fills and there's some areas that you've lost some lashes, you can just take and use this to kind of fill that in between your lash fills. You can go in with it sideways and just press upward into the lash root, or you can use the tip and just gradually wiggle it across that lash root area. Now you don't want to go down too far, but just in that lash root area. Another product that I have been loving, both for the lower waterline and for smudging along the lower lash line, is the Too Faced Killer Liner. This one is such a beautiful warm brown, kind of a rich warm reddish brown. It's called Killer Caramel. Let me show you this one. I actually think this would make a beautiful lip liner as well. Pairing this with a lighter nude type of lipstick would be so pretty for fall. So I'm going to use this in my lower waterline and just go over the lash line a little bit. I think this color would be beautiful on any eye color, but it definitely makes lighter eyes like blue and green really pop. I'm going to go back with that little brush I used for the lower shadow and just kind of give that a little bit of a blend. One of my favorite lip liners from Ulta that I don't mention often enough is the About Face brand. Really good price point, super creamy, stay on wonderfully, and look nice on the mature lip. It's hard for me to read the name on here without my reading glasses, so I will list the color names and the links in the description box below. Here is this color. You can see it is so creamy. This is such a nice color. You could certainly use it alone and just top it with a little lip balm for hydration. I'm going to go ahead with this Rare Beauty color, and I think this one is Worthy. Again, I'll list it down below. The Worthy lip liner for this is really nice too. Not quite as creamy as the About Face. Because I'm over 50, my lips tend to be dry. You know, we lose estrogen and things get a little drier. I do like to top it with something really nourishing. This Caramel is a dupe for the Laneige. Like very much the same type of product. It's really rich and creamy and hydrating. So I'm just going to top it with that. This is optional. So here's the finished look. Let me do my hair and I'll be right back. You guys, I have to say that I am super impressed with the Haus Labs products. I'm surprised I like it as much as I do because I thought it was going to be a little heavy for mature skin, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. The formula is really different than anything I've ever used, and the concealer gives the under eyes some brightness and smoothness without clinging into fine lines and wrinkles. A little goes a long way, and I'm super happy with how this looks. As far as the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette, I have loved every single Patrick Ta palette. This one is no exception. I think having a matte palette that has a range of both cool and warm mattes is so versatile, and the formulation on the Patrick Ta shadows is so rich, blendable, and really stands up with all the luxury brands. I'm a humongous fan of Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes in that formula, and I think the Patrick Ta formula is right up there with the ABH eyeshadow formula. So taking a final look at the makeup, I'm just looking what I might be lacking, and I feel like I need just a little bit more blush. And this Gorgio Armani blush is absolutely gorgeous. I'll list the color name in the description box below. It does have a little bit of shimmer, but it is so pretty just to give a really nice, not overdone blush. I'm going to take a nice, soft, fluffy brush and just add a tiny bit more blush to the high part of my cheeks, and that does give such a gorgeous glow. There's the finished look, you guys. What do you think? And have you tried any of these products, and what did you think? I'd love to hear your feedback and how these performed on your skin. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please join the Gorgeously Aging community by subscribing to my channel. I will see you guys in my next video.